Thank you. Well, two of those suspected Russian spies were denied bail. One of them is still on the loose out there, and federal prosecutors say that the allegations are just the tip of the iceberg, really. One Michigan congressman says that the reported broken up spy ring goes to show you that the Cold War may have thawed, but things are still pretty chilly, he says, between the United States and Russia. Republican Pete Hoekstra is the ranking member of the House Intelligence Committee, and he joins me now. Congressman, welcome. Good to have you here today.
Hey, thank you. Good morning.
You know, when this story first broke, it was downplayed to a great extent. People said, oh, everything they found you could find on the Internet. Now we're learning that they're denied bail because the prosecutors believe that they have connections to people in this country who would help them to get out of the country. One of them already got out of the country, and it raises a lot of questions about what else we may find out about who's helping them.
Well, I think that's exactly right. You know, we also have to take a look at exactly what the plans were for the Russians here. I think the Russians have these types of individuals in this country, not necessarily for the intelligence that they're going to provide today, but they're here to be implanted in our society so that they may have, in the future, they may be in a position that will give the Russians great information at that time. Remember, they only need one of these people to be successful. Aldrich Ames, 1993, severe damage to U.S. national security interest, one person. Hansen, after, into the millennium, lots of damage with one individual. The Russians only have to be successful with one of these people to get some really important intelligence. Yeah,
you know, obviously we need to have a good relationship with Russia. So the president met with Medvedev recently. They're not making a huge deal out of this whole event, at least publicly. What do you think might be happening behind the scenes, or how do you think this should be handled differently, if it should be handled differently?
Well, I think we just have to be very clear about our understanding of the Russians. The Russians are not our friends. The Chinese are not our friends in these types of areas. We can have cordial relationships with them, but we can't be naive. The Russians, the Chinese, the Iranians, they are all trying to infiltrate the United States. They are all trying to infiltrate our national security apparatus, but they are also out there trying to steal economic secrets, industrial espionage. Yeah. They have not changed their tactics in terms of how to gain a competitive, a strategic, or a military advantage over the United States. They're going to continue using these types of methods. We just need to be aware of that. We need to recognize that that's the type of relationship we have with them. They are not our friends. They will not treat us in an ethical way. They will try to steal and cheat from us each and every day.
You know, I was talking to K.T. McFarland about this the other day, and she worked under the Reagan administration during, the fall of the Soviet Empire. And she was saying, ultimately, I said, what is sort of the one way that we could begin to fix our relationship with Iran and to make sure they don't get nuclear weapons? She said, I still believe that in the end, even though, as you clearly point out, and she would, I think, agree with that Iran and China and Russia, are adversaries in many ways to us. Clearly, Iran is, but that we need to build a relationship with Russia, and that is the key to ultimately bringing down Iran. If that's the goal, if that's true, how do you deal with this kind of situation? How do you change the nature, the tenor of the suspicions that still exist between the two countries?
Well, I think you're absolutely right. You need to build a relationship with the Russians. What you do is you don't go into it with a naive perspective. You just recognize that these types of things will happen. You confront them. You deal from a position of strength, which is exactly what we are doing here. You prosecute these folks to the fullest extent of the law. You maintain your vigilance and recognize that the Russians are going to continue doing this. And as you catch them, as you determine that certain of these activities are going on, you don't let them totally sabotage the relationships. You recognize that there are certain areas where you can work together. Working against Iran getting a nuclear weapon, I believe, is in America's and ultimately in Russia's best interest. They will partner with us on that sometime in the future because of what it will do to the Middle East and how dangerous it will be to the Middle East. But that doesn't mean that they will stop trying to spy on us. You just have to be very, very realistic about the complexity of the kind of relationship you'll have with Russia, you'll have with China, and with countries like Iran. You still
have a great influence of Vladimir Putin on the whole scene. He's a former KGB head, and we see some of that at work in this perhaps as well. Congressman Hoekstra, always good to see you, sir. Thank you very much.
Hey, good.